Hello everyone. First of all, warm welcome to OIC training by Geeks. In this video, we're going to look at how to create a file transfer integration. So remember in the previous video, I've talked about the integration styles available in OIC, right? A file transfer is one of the integration styles available. And in this video, we'll explore how to create integrations using that particular style. And what's the use case? We're going to build a file transfer integration in OIC, which will receive a source name, source directory name, a target directory name, and a file name pattern as input. So this file transfer style is typically used to move files across the network. Okay. And we receive the source and directory names and the file name pattern as input. And in the integration, we will first try to list down all the files that match the pattern that is passed as an input. And yeah, we'll check for the files that match the pattern in the source directory. And if there are 3 or 4 files that match the pattern, we will loop through them with the help of for each loop. And I will explain, and we will also understand how we can use various operations available in FTP adapter, like how you can read the file from SFTP, write the file to SFTP, and how to archive the files, or how to use the move operation with the help of FTP adapter. Okay, so the main intention of this integration is to understand how to use file transfer style, and we will also explore the options available in FTP adapter. Okay, and there would be many use cases in real time wherein you have to use FTP adapter to build integrations. Okay, let's get started, guys. I've logged into OIC instance. And before we build any integration, what's the first thing we need to do? We have to create the required connections. And for this integration use case, I just need a connection to the SFTP server, because all I need to do was search the files in source directory, which match the file name pattern, and move them, read them from the directory and write it to a different directory in the same SFTP server. And then we will also archive the file. So there's only one connection that I need, and that is FTP connection. So go to Connections tab, create a new connection, search for FTP adapter, create it, and call it as the FTP connection. Leave it as trigger and invoke. And you will have to pass in the FTP server details here. And I will get the server details. So key in your SFTP host name, SFTP port, and mention whether it is an SFTP connection or not. Even though it's optional, you have to mention it as yes or no. And scroll down, and you have to enter the username and password. And enter the password. And if it is an encrypted file that you have to deal with, FTP adapter out of the box, FTP adapter out of the box supports a PGP encryption. PGP stands for pretty good privacy. Okay, it's one of the very popular encryption mechanism. So in case you want to pull some files, from FTP, which are encrypted files, and before you process them, say for example, before you load them into ERP Cloud, you might want to decrypt them, right? So in such cases, you can make use of, you can upload the PGP public key and private key in the connection itself. So PGP public key, so whenever you generate a PGP key, there will be 2 keys that get generated, public key and a private key. They work as a set. And to encrypt a file, you will use a public key. And to decrypt that file that you have encrypted with PGP public key, you need to use PGP private key. Okay, so we'll not get into the encryption in this video. So let's go ahead and test the connection. Connection tested successfully. Let's go ahead and build the integration. create a new one. And we're going to use a file transfer integration style for this because all we want to do is move the files seamlessly and securely across the network. It typically when we move the files, we move it from one SFTP location to another one. But since I've got only one SFTP server, I'll show you how to move the files from one directory to another directory. But when you have to move it to another SFTP server, all you need to do is use a different connection. Okay, so instead of moving it from one directory to another directory as we do in session, you will use a different connection that you created to connect to a target SFTP server and use it to write the file to that server. Okay, so use the file transfer style, create an integration, and you can call it as Unogeeks file transfer service. Put it in Unogeeks package and create it. And going back to the integration use case, what do we need to receive as input? We need to receive source directory, target directory, and a file name pattern as input. We need to receive 3 inputs, right? So as you can see here, since we have used a file transfer style, it gets internally converted to schedule orchestration. And you see that this service will be triggered based on a schedule. Okay, so we'll talk about the scheduling options in the next video. So for now, I need to define a schedule parameters here because I need to receive file name, source and target directories, right? So you go into schedule, edit the schedule option, and create parameters. And you can say source directory name. And you can enter a default value in there. So I'll enter this input directory as source directory name. Target directory name. Take out those additional codes, it's not required. And target directory name, I want to move the files from input to output. So I'll enter output directory as a target directory name. Codes will get automatically added. You don't need to take care of it. And you can get the file name pattern as well. File name pattern, let's say items star CSV. That means, or .csv. That means I want to pick up all the files, all the CSV files whose name starts with items. So if in the input directory, if we have 3 files which start with items, and if all of them are CSV files, all 3 of them will be picked up and moved from input to output. Okay. Star means any character is allowed after that, any number of characters. So close it. We have defined the schedule parameters now, and let's go ahead and build the integration. And what's the first thing we need to do? We need to list the files that match the name pattern in the source directory. And if you use and for that, whenever you need to interact with SFTP server, you need to use FTP connection. So use the Unogeeks FTP connection that we created. And you can say a list files. And in the operations, you have a list of operations available. And in this video, we will see how to use list files to list the files that match the name pattern. We'll see how to read a file, we'll see how to write a file, and we'll also see how to move a file. And other two also you can explore. Use list files operation. And when you use list files operation, it asks you to enter the directory name and a file name pattern in the endpoint configuration. And as you can see here, you can only enter static text here. Okay, so for example, you can enter the static path or a file name pattern. But I don't want to hard code any values here, because remember we are receiving this input directory and file name pattern as schedule parameters, and I want to pass those schedule parameters as input to these two values. In such case, enter any dummy value here because it's mandatory, right? So you need to enter a dummy value. So you say default input directory, and you say default, you can call this as default file name pattern. All we are doing is entering a dummy values here. We are going to override these values in the mapper that is going to get generated. Click on next. Done. And in this mapper, we are going to pass in the schedule parameters. Okay, so if you remember, we are receiving source directory name and a file name pattern, right? So pass these parameters as input to the list files operation. Pass the file name pattern and map the directory name as well. So here we are letting list files operation to go and search in the source directory and search for the files which match the name pattern that client has passed in. And this list files operation will get back a response, and that response will be a collection of files. So there could be 10 files or there could be 100 files that match the file name pattern, right? So you get back a collection of files as a response to this request that you're sending out. And what we need to do, we need to loop through the response. You get back collection of files as a response for this invocation, and we need to loop through that response. And wherever you have a collection, and if you have to loop through, you need to use a for each loop. So if you click on actions available here, if you scroll down, wherever you want to loop through the collection, predefined collection, you will use a for each loop. There's another loop called while loop available, which you will use if you want to loop through or if you want to loop over actions or set of actions based on conditions. So if you need a condition based loop, use while loop. If you need to loop through a collection of files or a predefined collection of elements, use for each. In this case, I get back a collection of files, so I'll use for each to loop through them. So drag and drop the for each element, or you can just click on the plus icon and type it in as well. And you can say process each file. Always give meaningful names so that a person looking at the integration knows what exactly you're doing in that. So you need to pass in the repeating element here. So this repeating element is going to be the list files response. So this list files operation is what we are sending out. We sent out a request and we've got back a response. And in that response, you will see a file list and you will see a collection of files here. And for each file again, you have the attributes retrieved. Okay, file directory, file name, directory name, etc. So this, you get back a collection of files. And how do you know that this is a repeating element? You see those double lines on the brackets, that indicates that it's a repeating element. And select that repeating element and add it to the repeating element attribute. And within the loop, so we are opening a for each loop, right? Within the loop, if you want to refer to the current file, how do you want to refer to that element? So enter that element name here. So if I want to refer to the current file as a current file, or give any name here, and you will have to use this name to refer to the current file that you're processing. Okay, so I'll just say current file, create it. And if you want to process the files in parallel, you do have an option in there. You can check it out. And why are you seeing a warning message in there? You see a loop got added, but you see a warning message. That's because there are no actions in the loop at the moment. So the moment you add a first action, this warning will go away. And what do we want to do in this loop? We want to read the file from input. We want to write the file to output. And then we want to archive the file or move the file from input to archive directory. So what I did is I've created a folder structure. So I've created file transfer style folder with 3 folders: input, output, archive. So I want to read the files which match the pattern from input, and I want to write them to output. And after that, I also want to move the files from input to archive so that they won't be processed again when the scheduled orchestration gets triggered after that. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the file. And to read the file, click on the plus icon, use FTP connection again. And you can say read file from SFTP because it's a specific file that you are reading. Click on next, read a file, and again you pass in a default directory names, default a directory and a file name, because we're going to override these values anyways in the mapper. No need to upload a sample file. Click on that. And here you mention what file do you want to read and from which directory. And that will be available in the current file that you're processing. So go to the mapper. And you see this current file. So whatever name you give in the current element name, when you open up a for each loop, that will show up here. So if you want to refer to any attributes of the current file, you can use this option. Expand as, open file. And I want to read this file from this directory. So pass in the file name and the directory name as well. Validate. And close. That's how you read a file from FTP server. You need to mention what file you want to read and from what directory. And I want to write the file. And I want to write the file to output location. So I'll call it as write file to SFTP. Select write file operation. And again, you can give a default a directory name and a default file name pattern. That's okay, because we're going to override these values anyways. No need to upload sample file. Click on that. And when you're writing a file to SFTP, you need to pass a file reference which should have the content of the file. So when you read a file from SFTP, you will get back a file reference as a response. And I want to write the same file. I want to use the same file reference and pass it as input to write file operation, so that the same file that is read from input location will be written into output location with the same content. So you edit the mapper, and to the write file operation, you need to pass in file reference as an input. It's taking time to open up. Yeah, there is a file reference that you need to pass in. So when you send in a read file request, you will get back a response, and in that response, you will have a file reference. So this file reference available under ICS is nothing but the entire content of the file. Okay, there it's a reference to that a file content. So you can pass in that reference as input to the write file operation, and you can also map the file name. Okay, you can also map the file name. And the directory name. So you have read the file from SFTP, right? You've read the current file from SFTP, and you want to write it to a target directory. So to which directory you want to write this to? You want to write this to output directory, right? So select the target directory name and pass it to map it to the directory. So we were reading the file from source directory, and we were writing it, and we are writing it to the target directory now. Validate it. and close. So this is how you read a file, write a file, and list the files using FTP connection. And once the files, and now the file is read from input and it is written to output. And I don't want to leave the file behind in input, so I want to move it to archive directory. So in real time, when you perform this write operation, you will write it to a different SFTP server, not to the same SFTP server. But since we don't have a multiple SFTP servers, I'm using the same SFTP server, but moving the files from one folder to another folder. Okay, but in real time, you will use a different SFTP connection here to move the file across the network to a different SFTP server. Okay, let's see how to use the move operation now. I want to move the files from input to archive. And I'll call it as move file. And select move a file operation. And when you want to move a file, you have to pass in, you have to mention what file from what directory, to move to which directory, and what should be the target file. So here you can hard code the values, or you can add in the default input directory and maybe a default file name, not a pattern. You can probably call this as a source input directory. And a source file name. And you can, yeah, source directory path is more meaningful. And call this as target directory path. We're going to override these values anyway. We are hard coding a dummy values at the moment and pass in the target file. And you can enable this checkbox. And if the file already exists in a directory path with the target file name, it will overwrite it. If you don't tick this box, then the content gets appended to the existing file. And you can click on done. And you need to configure the parameters here. So what file needs to be moved? The current file needs to be moved to archive directory. So the current file attributes, I can directly get it from this element. So the current file name and the directory, I can directly map them to the file name and the directory. And target directory, where should we change this to, or where should we map this to? This is basically an archive directory. So I'll click on create target node, and I will go into edit mode. It will be in expression mode by default. I'll change it to literal or a text mode, and I can enter the archive directory path here. Okay, let me copy the path from SFTP. You can hard code the path here, save it. And the target file name, we can write the file with the same name to the target directory location. That's fine. We'll keep the file name same. Validate, close, enable tracking. And use file name pattern, source directory, and target directory as tracking identifiers. We're getting 3 inputs and we can use all of them as tracking identifiers. Save it. And a brief recap of what we have done in this integration. So we will receive source and target directory names as input along with a file name pattern. We have used a list files operation available in FTP connection to list the files that match the file name pattern in the source directory. This will give you back a collection of files, and we are looping through that collection of files using for each loop. And each file, so this loop will be executed as many times depending on, it will be executed as many times the number of files that we have in the specific location. If you have 3 files, this loop will get executed 3 times. And for each file, these actions will be performed. So if there are 3 files, all those 3 files, on those 3 files, these actions will be performed. So the first file will be read from input, and we have used a read file operation to do that. And the same file will be, it will be written to output directory with the help of write file operation. And that file will be moved from input to archive directory so that it will not be processed again. And these steps will be executed on all the files that exist in the source directory, which match the name pattern. So in our case, we have, if you go to input directory, we have 3 CSV files which start with items. So this loop gets executed 3 times, and all 3 of those files, all these 3 files will be written to output, and they will be moved to archive as well. So let's go ahead and test this integration. Save the service. And since this is a scheduled orchestration, you can define a schedule for this. You can set up a schedule using basic and advanced options. I'm going to cover those scheduling options in the next video because it will take at least 10-15 minutes to explain those options. So activate the service. And when you activate the service, since it's a scheduled orchestration, you can enable trace. Since it's a scheduled orchestration, along with activate, you see this activate and schedule option. I will talk about the scheduling options in the next video. In this one, we'll just activate the service and we will submit an ad hoc request. For a scheduled orchestrations, you can submit ad hoc runs. Click on activate. And the service is active now. Service is active now. So let's go ahead and test it. Click on the test icon, submit now. And it's asking with what username do you want to submit the request? Stick to the current user, that's fine. Confirm it. And you should see the schedule parameters. So we have defined 3 schedule parameters, right? And we have defined default values as well for all of them. So we can stick to that, and we can go ahead and submit it with the same default parameters. Okay, and let's go ahead and submit it. So the benefit of using schedule parameters is tomorrow if the directory name or a file name pattern changes, you don't need to look for integration specialist to edit the service, file transfer service. We could have hard coded these directory name and file name pattern within the service itself. But since we have defined them as schedule parameters, we have the flexibility of changing them at a later point in time without affecting the service. Okay, so submit it. You will get an instance generated. Click on it to track the request. You could see that the instance is in progress at the moment. And you see that instance completed successfully. And the green color indicates that yes, it was able to execute all the actions successfully. So first it has listed down the files which match the name pattern in the source directly. It has looped through those files, and on each file, it would have executed all these actions. It would have read that file, written it to output, and it would have moved that file to archive directory. And you notice that you see a 3 here. That's because in the input directory, we had 3 files which match the name pattern. So this loop is executed 3 times. So this number indicates how many times the loop is executed. And if you want to check out the result, from the input, these 3 files would have been read and written to output directory. And they would also have been moved to archive directory. So input should be blank. Output, you should see the same 3 files. Okay. Let's go and check it out in the archive. So you can see that the files have been moved to other archive location. Okay. So yeah, we were able to achieve the use case that we have started off with. So we have built a file transfer integration, and we have seen or we have explored most of the options that are available in FTP Adapter. Thanks for watching this video, guys. In case you are interested in Oracle integration cloud training offered by InnoGeeks, please call us on this number or send a WhatsApp message, or you can also email us on @innogeeks.com. If you want to just check out the course content, please do visit our website. Thank you.